Hi all, this is our first session of our economy module. This module contains 25 chapters. The first 15 are for your preliminary examination and the next 10 are for your main examination. This module is designed keeping in mind the present trend of the economy in your preliminary examination. And if you look at the previous papers, on an average, 20 to 25 questions are being asked from this subject. So keeping in this mind, this course has been designed which will definitely is going to use for your prelims as well as the mains examination. So this is my first class, and in this class I am going to cover the very basics of economy, that is which includes the chapter 1 and also the chapter 2 of the syllabus. To begin with, we'll be starting with the basics of economy. That is, what is economy? Economy is nothing but it's a relationship. It's a relationship between a producer and a consumer. It is also a relationship between supply, demand, and trade. Supply and demand are directly related to production and consumption. Who are producers? Producers are the one who produce the goods. And who are consumers? Consumers are those set of group who consume the goods which are produced. So this consumption is directly linked to the demand. In order to meet the demand, the supply criteria has to be set. That means producer definitely understand the market requirements and what is the requirement in the market and what are the demand and which are the goods which are in demand. So based on that, the supply criteria will meet the demand. Imagine the criteria like the demand of the good is very high and the supply of the good is very low. In this case, we can say that there are more people who are demanding and there is a very less supply because of less labor force or because of logistic or supply chain management issues. In this case, the demand of the product continuously increases. If the demand of the product continuously increases, then the prices of the good will go very high. So this is how the supply demand criteria are directly linked to the prices of the commodities. Next, we have different units in economy. What are these units? First one is microeconomy and next one is macroeconomy. What do you mean by microeconomy? Microeconomy is the study of individuals. That means I am going to study here about all the micro units. So in general, micro means small. I'm talking here about those components which are in smaller quantities or whose contribution is very low when compared to a holistic group. In this case, microeconomy considers the individuals or it is the study of individual, whereas macroeconomy is nothing but large. For example, if I'm talking about one individual in a group, then I'm linking it to the micro unit. If I talk about holistically the complete group, then here I'm talking about macroeconomy. If I talk about your education level, if I talk about single person's literacy level, then I'm linking this to microeconomy. If I talk about India's poverty, if I consider India's literacy rate, so in this case, I'm considering the holistic level or larger in space, then I can say this all factors are part of macro indicators. So macroeconomy studies the behavior of a country and how its policies affects the economy and it analyzes entire organizations rather than individuals because individuals basically deal with or they are part of micro sector or micro units. Now let us classify them with taking few more examples. Microeconomy deals with the individual income, individual savings, particular commodity, market side supply and demand, consumption levels, and the distribution chain. Whereas the macroeconomy deals with unemployment rate, inflation, growth, poverty, literacy. Here, all these concepts I'm considering at a larger scale. And here, I'll be talking about the smaller scale. Here, the scope is very small and the scope of contribution is very high. So whenever I talk about one organization, either it might be an MNC or any other organization, if I'm talking here about of one unit, then I'll be talking here about the microeconomics. If I consider all the MNCs in India, if I consider all the MNCs, then I'm here talking about macro units. What are the profits generated by MNCs in India? These profits are considered as macroeconomy units. If I'm talking here as a single unit, for example, profits earned by Infosys, profits earned by Wipro, profits earned by any other single unit, then I am talking here about the microeconomics. Let us take more examples. If I want to elaborate the concept of macroeconomics, then I will be considering about holistic part at a larger scale, that is India's GDP, India's GNP, or total income of the country. If I talk about individual income of a household or a family, then I'm considering this as part of micro. If I consider about total income of the country, or if I consider here the national income of the country, then we are considering here the macro units. So these are the macro indicators and these are the set of micro indicators. Let us discuss now about sectors in economy. We have already discussed different units. Those are the micro and macro. Now we'll be talking about the different sectors in economy. What are the different sectors in economy? We have primary sector, we have secondary sector, and we have tertiary sector. All these sectors contributes towards the growth of Indian economy. But there are few sectors which contribute at a very larger scale and the few sectors which contributes very less when compared to the other sectors. In this case, we can say the contribution from the tertiary sector is very high. What includes in the tertiary sector? Tertiary sector includes services, majorly like banking services, like institutions, telecom services, transport, etc. So all put together will be part of tertiary sectors. Now what includes or what are part of secondary sector? Secondary sector majorly includes manufacturing, industry, construction sector, water, gas supply, etc. And what are part of primary? We have agriculture, we have quarrying, we have mining, we have forestry. So all this be part of primary sector. And if we want to know the contribution from these individual sectors, then primary sector contributes around 15 to 16%, whereas secondary sector contributes around 30 to 35%. And the highest contribution will be from the tertiary sector, that is around 50 to 55%. So tertiary sector is that sector which is majorly into service oriented and this sector contribution is very high. And agriculture sector majorly in the primary whose contribution is very low because we all know India is mostly a monsoon driven country and our agriculture sector is majorly dependent on monsoon. So any irregularity in the monsoon definitely will impact this agriculture sector, which whose contribution in this individual primary sector is very high. So we know what are the basic primary sectors. Primary sectors are directly dependent on environment as these refer to utilization of the earth resources such as the land, water, vegetation, building materials and minerals. As we have already discussed, what are the part of, which are those individual units which are part of primary sector? Those are hunting, gathering, pastoral activities, fishing, forestry, quarrying, mining, agriculture, and their activities or allied activities. So put together, their contribution is around 16%. What constitute of this secondary sector? Remember, the scope to generate employment in India is very high if we can develop secondary sector, majorly the manufacturing. So India, considering all this, has come up with various initiatives like developing and concentrating the manufacturing sectors. And this one best example what we can use is Make in India. Imagine I'm considering here only about the secondary sector. Then what all the secondary sector needs? Inputs like secondary sector needs the inputs from the primary. So primary basically provides raw material to the secondary sector. And these raw materials from the secondary sector are processed and finally they are sent to the service oriented. The raw material which we receive from the primary will be processed to manufacture steel. And once this steel is manufactured, it can be made used to convert into various tools or various products. And finally, we will arrive with a finished good. So all these are part of manufacturing sector. What includes the tertiary? As we discussed, it is majorly a service oriented. Like you have shopping malls, you have banking, you have transport, tourist, hotel, everything will be part of tertiary sector. And this is majorly service oriented and the contribution of service sector towards our GDP or the growth is at a very larger scale or very high. Now, we'll be talking about what is economic growth. Economic growth is nothing but a change. That is, if whenever there is an improvement, whenever there is an development, we consider it as a growth. A growth is happening. And if it is a positive, then we can call it as there is an improvement in the growth of the economy. We can say growth is nothing but a change which is happening over a period of time. And this period is basically one financial year. And this financial year, which starts from April 1st and ends 31st March. So, what are the policies which you have come up in this one year to generate the economy in the country? You call those as the controls which the RBA makes sure and the fiscal policies which is under the government of India. Now, let us talk about what is open and closed economy. Open economy is nothing but that economy which is open for trade. And what is trade? Trade is nothing but the selling or the purchase of the goods. We call this as trade. And how trade is related to the open and closed economy. Open economy means the doors of the country is open for trade. That means we are interested to export the goods and we are also interested to import the goods. If the economy is open, which means the trade is taking place, that is, selling and purchase of goods is happening, and where the imports and exports take place, and there are no barriers, which means the country which is following the open model of economy, which will definitely has either the less trade barriers or mostly it is free from all the barriers. And this contribution from the open economy or the policies of the open economy will be contributing much towards our growth or GDP. We'll be discussing about the GDP in the next coming slides. And what is closed economy? Closed economy is nothing but where the trade is not happening or the country is not at all interested to go for the trade where there is no selling or purchasing of goods take place. That means there are no imports or the no exports are happening. So why does the country go for this? Means country might be having certain restrictions or countries may be coming up with the policies which needs to develop their domestic goods. So in this case, we can say that the country is not interested to go for the trade. So which are those set of countries? For example, North Korea and Brazil, these are the countries which are considered as under this closed economy part. So can you say the country are completely closed? So here there's one statement that no country is completely closed. No country is completely closed for economy or for trade. For example, if you take the case of North Korea and Brazil, these are the countries which are partially open but not completely closed. What do you mean by partially opening? Brazil is a country which will import only few goods, considering its domestic goods or domestic industries, and also considering majorly its though it will allow those imports which can protect its domestic goods, or it will try to restrict all those goods from the other countries. Now, what is about North Korea? North Korea do follows the similar policy, that is it is neither completely open nor completely closed. So in 2010 or 2011, there's a question in your preliminary examination. What is if the country is not interested to go for imports or exports? What is this policy? This policy is nothing but closed economy policy. And in the next coming video, we'll be discussing about few more basics of economy, that is GDP, GNP, and what is gross value added. I hope this session of the basics of understanding of the economy will be very useful for you, and we'll be meeting in our next video. Thank you.